So before I take the boat to the marina and put it in the water for the season, there was one last thing that I wanted to try and address, and that's these little black latches on the forward hatch. So they've turned kind of white and chalky. They have a very rough texture to them, and I want to see if I can restore them. So for this project, I'm going to be using Cerakote, and I saw a review video on YouTube where a guy treated his front bumper on a really old Chevy with probably like a dozen different products. And Cerakote was the one that did the best. So I'm gonna see if it'll restore these little latches on the front of the hatch. Okay, so what I've done is I've used black electrical tape, and I've used that because it makes a good seal around it, and also it's flexible, so you can see that some of the pieces of tape, I've actually kind of bent them around the latch. And there's tape underneath the latch, so that electrical tape is nice and thin, so the tape goes underneath the latch. All right, so the kit actually includes a set of gloves, so that's kind of cool. So I'm just gonna start wiping this on and see what it does. So far, so good. So it says to wipe it back and forth successively. So I'm trying to get inside these little gaps here just by going back and forth. Now, if it stays looking like this when it dries, that'll be amazing. And this little dimple right here in the middle is the part that is probably the worst worn, probably because water sits in there after a rain or whatever. Okay, so that's what the treated one looks like. And that's what it looks like before treatment. So far, so good. All right, so it's dry, and I think it looks pretty good. It certainly looks a lot better than the old one, right? So that's all white and chalky and dried out. And yeah, this Cerakote trim coat stuff works pretty good. I'm gonna say that's a go-to product now. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably also do the little black housing for my bow and stern light as well, because this stuff has great UV protection. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good product there. All right, so the Cerakote ceramic trim coat restoration kit, I put it on both latches, and it did a great job. I think it actually looks a little chalky still looking through the camera, but with the human eye, it looks really great. I think that's just the lighting and the reflection. But I did also end up getting a little bit of it on the polycarbonate lens of the hatch itself, and I just wiped it up with a dry cloth, and it does not appear to have done any damage. But I'll also say that there's a warning label inside the hatch, that specifically says not to get any kind of harsh chemicals or anything other than just like soapy water on the lens of the hatch. So, like I said, it doesn't appear to have done any damage, but you definitely want to mask it off and try to avoid getting any of this stuff on the lens of the hatch. But yeah, it did a great job on these little latches.